I ended up in Tuscaloosa because there is actually a homeless shelter. It's a shelter for battered women and children that is not too far from here in kind of a neighboring little area. We're not going to call the name out just for like security reasons, but it's located in the Tuscaloosa, Alabama area. The way that I ended up here was, long story short, my father was very abusive, and my mom had to get out of that situation.
When you were a baby, we lived in Woodlawn in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And of course, your dad would come and go. He would leave, he would like be real religious and be in church and be doing all the right thing and everything. And he wouldn't keep his job. He would come and go. So he would like leave his job, go back to the mountain, go find all his friends and like smoke a bunch of dope and drink and party and not come home for days. And you know, we wouldn't know where he was. And he'd lose his job, then he'd come back, and it was a cycle of constant, he was good and he was bad, and he was good and he was bad, you know. And of course there was lots of fighting in between. But one time we were fighting, and this was before we actually like broke up, when we got divorced.
Yeah.
And he was mad at me about something, and he hit me so hard that I flew across the room and I landed on the floor. And he came over there on top of me and was getting ready to hit me again, and you jumped on his back and you were hitting him in the back and you were saying, "Don't hurt my mommy, stop hurting my mommy." And it like made him just get up, you know, and then he just like went in the other room or whatever. But that's things you don't remember, and you probably never told you that, because it was just, why tell you? You know what I'm saying? Because there was so much. You're tearing up. Can you drive? Probably shouldn't have told you that when you're driving. Sorry. But it was rough. I think we're done for a minute. Thank you.
Continue the story. Sorry,
Okay.
I lost it there for a minute.
It was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I mean, he really was like dealing with two different people. My assumption was that because he had been doing hard drugs for so many years, that it just did something to his brain chemistry. And he did the hardcore drugs. I mean, he was addicted to heroin twice. I don't know if you know this or not. Your dad took you off from me more than once.
So kidnapped, essentially?
Absolutely kidnapped. Beat the door down while we were going through this divorce. Beat the door down, cut the phone wire so I couldn't call the police.
Wow.
Beat the door down, came in through the hole in the door that he beat.
With his fists?
With his fists. Came straight from me, put me against the wall, and was choking me. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm gonna die. He's killing me. He's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could do is just scream Jesus, you know. And then after a minute, he just let go of me, and I just collapsed and crumbled down on the floor. And when he went straight to your crib, snatched you up out of your crib, and was holding you like a football, and grabbed Jesse and was dragging Jesse, and just climbed right back out that hole in the door with you under his arm, and got it. He had left his car running. He was planning on doing it.
Yeah.
And I just, oh my God, I just remember chasing the car down the street and just standing in the middle of the street and just screaming. And of all things, after I saw him drive away, I said, "You forgot the diaper bag." I did.
Oh my God.
Because I'm just thinking, He's got
How are
the
you gonna
kids.
take care
He
of
took the baby. He don't have to diaper. But I mean, it was like up until that point in my life, that was the most dreadful moment of my entire life. Got a police report and scared him to death. That lawyer put y'all in the car and brought you back to me
Wow.
in the middle of the night.
So
So-
fast forward, somehow he's convinced you to get back with him.
Yes.
Somehow.
It was your fault partially.
My fault?
Yeah.
How is it my fault?
You would always beg him to stay for church. And you would hang on him and you would beg him to stay at church and stuff like that. And so sometimes he would stay for church.
Okay.
And then you would say, let's go eat together. And then,
So I was trying to get y'all back together.
or I don't know if you really realized it. You know, you just wanted us to be together.
Be a family.
We moved to a different house because we got evicted, and then he just started partying again and not working, not having money, or the money that he did have, he would spend it on cigarettes. And he told me that, you're not taking my kids this time, you're not getting them. If I can't have them, nobody's having them. And he was like being all like threatening towards me and stuff. And when he worked at the hotel, he had found a gun in one of the rooms. And so like he had the gun and he was acting like, you know, he didn't like specifically say, I will kill you, but he was insinuating. We had this horrible fight and he started threatening me, and then he was telling me that he would kill me before he would let me take y'all. So we went for a walk because we used to go out and walk sometimes. So we walked down to the police station and I told them that he was threatening me. They said, well, we'll come up with you right now. We'll stand in the doorway and you can pack your stuff and you can get your kids and you can leave. And I said, I can't do that because number one, I have nowhere to go. And number two, as soon as you leave and walk away, he's gonna get in that car and chase me down and he'll kill me. I said, I know he'll kill me. I know he will. They said, okay, but we can stand there and let you leave. And I said, but you can't watch him all the time, he'll find me. Had a plan in the back of my mind that if I had to leave fast, I would camp until I figured out what to do. So I had already given Pam my camping equipment. If worse came to worse, I would go get my tent and we'd, camp and figure it out after that. So that night I knew that, he said he was taking y'all. We fought until late into the night and I just fell asleep. I was exhausted and I was just like, my life is over. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I was too exhausted and emotionally spent to think.
Yeah.
Like, how do I fix this? I just had to get some sleep. Well, I woke up before dawn and I woke up and I was like, boing.
Energy.
I was wide awake. I was leaving. I mean, I had to do it right now while he was still asleep. So I start like formulating this plan and I start like putting stuff. We had some like little pets that I ended up taking to Pam, but I like opened up the window and I start laying stuff out the window and I start getting some clothes, laundry basket and stuff like that. And I sneak out and I load up everything in the car that I could get. And then I went back in there and I woke you guys up. And y'all knew his temper.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shh, don't wake up Daddy. And I said, we're going camping as a last, trip, end of the school year, a surprise camping trip.
Yeah.
And I was going, don't wake up Daddy. We don't want him to be upset. And see, I still had finals. I hadn't graduated yet.
Yeah.
I still had finals and we had been fighting so bad every day. I woke y'all up and we snuck out of the house and I got in the car and I turned that key and that key did not start and I thought I was just gonna drop dead from panic. Like, I almost threw up. I just expected any second I could see him like coming out the window with an axe or something. Like, I was imagining all these horrible things of him just coming out the window and just like killing me for trying to take y'all. I I don't know that I've ever been that scared in my life. That very second that I turned that key and it didn't start, I thought, oh my God. And I got out, and we had issues with the old hoopty cars and battery issues, and I got out and I was like tapping on the battery terminals and stuff, and I got that car started and I drove away, and I looked in the rearview mirror the whole time I was leaving, because I just expected any second to see him up in my rearview mirror. And we went to Pam's, got the camping equipment, loaded everything up, and we went out to Oak Mountain. I could have stayed anywhere. I could have went to my sister's, I could have went to Pam's, I could have went to people from church would help us, but he would have given hell to anybody that helped us. Because when I was pregnant with you, when we were staying with Alex and Carrie, and I was pregnant with you, he came up there and he would just torment them, and they would have to call the police, and he would ride his motorcycle around in their yard, tearing their yard up, and scream like these horrible profanities and everything. And one day they weren't there, and he told me that he needed me to open the door so that I could sign a paper, because we were trying to sell that property up on the mountain. And he said he needed my signature. And he was beating on the door and banging everything, and I was afraid he was gonna like break their windows and stuff. And so I was trying to protect their property. So I opened the door, and he spit right in my face, right in the middle of my eye. I mean, he had good aim. It just went right there, right in my forehead, and it just dripped down my face. And then he just stood there and cussed me, and I just shut the door, and I was like, oh my God. But I kept going back to because I can't explain that. But anyway, we were at Oak Mountain, and I still had to go take my final before I could graduate. So like there was time in between. I went to take my final, and you were staying with either Pam or Pam's mom. And the stupid car broke down on the way to take my last final. And I got it off the road. I drifted it off the road into a parking lot, and I was so mad, and I just grabbed my backpack and I just started walking, and I was just furious that all this was happening all at once. And one of my teachers from Jeff State saw me walking, recognized me, and figured what happened, and pulled over and drove me.
Oh, that's good.
So I went and took the final, called some people from church. They had the car towed to go take it to get it fixed. And at that point, we had called, that first shelter was called Bread and Roses. It's up there near Woodlawn where we lived, actually. And so we were supposed to be placed there. And we went. And I think we stayed one night, but they told us that we couldn't stay there because Jesse was 12. They said 12-year-old boys could stay, but not 13-year-old boys. But when we got there, Jesse looked older than 12.
Yeah.
And they said he can't stay here. And like I argued with them, and I'm like, it's not fair because you said 12-year-olds. And they said, but he looks like a grown man. These women, are hiding from their husbands. They don't want to be around, a big guy. Blah, 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 even though you and I both know Jesse want her to flee.
Right.
He's very calm and mellow, but they were, acting like that.
Second door, third lane from right.
So they said that we had to leave, but that they could put us in this other shelter that's called a family shelter, where all ages can stay together, and it can be men, women, whatever. Mm-hmm. And, so we ended up going there. And when we went over there, the lady wasn't even going to let us in. And she said, this isn't the hours that we take people. And I had to stand there and fight with her and argue with her. And Pam kept saying, come on, Dawn, just get in the car. Let's just go. And I said, no. I said, I'm not doing that. It's not right. They have to let us in. And I fought for our right to be able to stay there.
Yeah.
Because between you and me, it was like reverse prejudiced.
Yeah.
We were the only white people there, and that's not going in no film or nothing, but that's what it was, is she didn't want me there. And she wouldn't let me in. And Pam was begging me, come on, let's go. We'll just go back to my mom's, we'll go to my house. And I said, no, it's not right. I said, these places are in place to help people, and they're gonna help me. And I was just mad, I was furious. And at that point, they would have had to call the police to get me to leave. I was so mad that they were trying to do that to me. They were just, all of them were just running me around, telling me this and telling me that, and I was so mad. And so we stayed there.
So they let you in?
They let us in, and then I guess, I don't know how many days, but then I was graduating, and you guys were gonna stay either with Pam or somebody was keeping y'all, and Jesse begged to go to the graduation. I was terrified for y'all to go to the graduation because your dad knew I was graduating. And I was terrified that he was going to show up there and try to get you and take you away. And, but Jesse just begged and begged and said, please, Mom, I went to school with you. I saw you study so hard. I really want to see you graduate. And so I made him promise me, if your dad shows up, do not leave the building with him. It doesn't matter what he tells you. If he tries to grab you, you have to fight, you have to scream, you have to yell, you have to promise me you will not let him take you out of the building. So he promised me, and I put Mace in my pocket because I was terrified he was going to show up. And so when I walked across that stage and got my little associate's degree, I had Mace in my pocket.
And you were homeless.
And I was homeless. It was just a really scary place. I mean, it was filthy. It was nasty. People just yelled and screamed at each other all the time, and there was just like nasty stuff piled up, like car seats that needed to be cleaned, you know, with like mess in them and nasty, and it stunk and it was bad. And the bathroom was down the hall, and you guys went down there to go to the bathroom. I don't even know. You and Jesse were together, and you both went down to the bathroom. I guess I sent y'all together, and y'all came back and said there was a man laying in the bathtub, you know, and the door was open, that he didn't even have the door shut and everything. And I just laid there, and y'all went to sleep, and I just thought, what am I doing? You know, should I just go back? Is it that bad? What am I doing to the kids?
Yeah.
Like, I can put up with the crap, but I need to make the right choice for the kids. It's really not going to be that bad for them to live at their grandmother's house. Like, I was going through all this and thinking, not about me going back to your dad for us to be married forever, but, you know, I almost just gave up and went back I didn't want to put y'all through stuff. You know, and then you got sick, and we didn't have the car. You know, it was in the shop. We walked to the little clinic down there in Woodlawn, and you were so sick that they put us in a taxi cab and sent us to Children's. And you had pneumonia. And then I guess they I don't know if they sent the taxi cab back or somebody came back and got us. And it was just a horrible story. And you were so sick, and people were yelling because I was letting you sit on the steps and drink 7-Up to try to get your stomach calmed down because you'd been throwing up. Yeah. And then they're like, she's letting her children drink and eat, and they're not in the bedroom, not in the kitchen. And like, just like trying to get me in trouble and screaming and yelling, and it was just awful. And then somebody told me, if you're trying to hide from your husband, you're not, they brought the car back. Somebody brought the car back at some point and put it right there in front of the shelter. That's where they parked it. And somebody told me, if you're trying to hide from Ray, you're not doing a very good job of it, because I saw your car today and I know where you're staying.
Yeah.
And so I called the Christian Service Mission, which owned the Hannah Home then, and was asking about that, and they gave me Sharon's pager number. So I called her pager number, and she kept saying, how did you get this number? How did you get this number? Nobody's supposed to have this number. And I kept telling them that that somebody at the Christian Service gave it to me. No, they're not supposed to give you this number. Where did you get this number? Who gave you this number? And she just kept arguing with me, and I kept trying to explain who I was, what was going on. You know, I didn't know if my husband knew where we were, but, you know, all this, I had just graduated from Jeff State, and he was going to take y'all, and he was threatening me. And see, at that point, we were supposed to go to a different shelter in Birmingham over near Pelham. I can't remember what it was called, but we were in there. We were waiting. We were on a waiting list.
Okay.
So all this stuff was supposed to be just get us through until we can get over there. And then I was supposed to be able to get a job in a daycare center over there. I had people helping me work all these details out, but I just had to keep us safe until then. So anyway, I convinced her, and then she said she didn't even know if they had a room available. But given my story, that they would figure something out for me to come on down there that night. So we drove to the Hannah home that night, and that's where we ended up at the Hannah home. I went in there and told them I'm not going to be here 2 weeks at the very most.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to be here long.
2
I'm
weeks,
waiting.
and then you end up out there
7
over
years.
So
Yep.
We'll get like a really brief idea on all that, you know, probably after our meeting.
Okay.
Or even probably during the meeting.
Okay.
Because I feel like that information is like, husband was abusive, here's some of the stuff we went through, here's how we came to the Hannah home, and that's the kind of stuff that they're going to learn about here. You know, so
Right.
This is actually like a good kind of ending point. But I do want to say, essentially, Sharon's decision is what, like, that was it. That's what the impact was.
Yep.
Had you not convinced her, let us come here, like, we'd have a completely different life.
I've thought about that so many times.
Yeah.
And I've sat in her office and watched her have to tell people we don't have room. And I would just cry. And I would say, what if you said that to me? You know? I mean, we've had to turn so many people away. And I thought, I mean, she didn't even know if they had a room. But I convinced her that we had to come. You know, I didn't even know where the Hannah home was.
Right.
I didn't even know what part of the state it was in. I just know that, I had seen the commercials on TV.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew that you were supposed to call the Christian Service Mission. You know, but completely, I mean, changed the course of everything. Everything.
So what we want to do is we want to make a film. We want to create a movie that tells that story. But more importantly, we want the film to do a few things. We want it to encourage women to get out of those types of situations by showing them that my mom was able to do it with 2 kids. She had no money. She really didn't have a whole lot of help, especially financially. So we want to encourage women to get out of those situations. We want to discourage men from treating their families that way. So we want to paint an accurate, transparent picture for these men to see what they're doing to their wife and to their children. Because a lot of times they're not thinking that way. They're not thinking about the kids. They're not thinking about their wife. They're thinking about themselves. So we want to show them that. And we want to discourage that type of behavior from these men or from these women that are putting their spouse and their kids in abusive situations. We want to show how it's important to put yourself around powerful, encouraging people. So for my mom, she surrounded herself with godly, powerful women that would not let her go back to my dad. And that was very important. If not for those women that she had in her life, my life and me standing here today probably would not happen. And so that's what we want to do. But the final thing is we want to show that even though my dad did terrible things. He was a good person. He just did bad things. And so we want to wrap all that up into a film, and we want to package it, and we want to show people in the real world. So the one thing I do have to say about this film is, although it is a faith-based film because our life is based on our faith, there will be profanity, there will be violence, and we're going to paint a real picture as to what it's like. Just to get off on a rant, I'm a little sick and tired of Christians being scared to be real. This is real. And in my mind, if we are transparent about that going into this, everyone's on the same page and everyone understands what you're investing in. Saving the life of these children that are in these homes, saving the life of these women, possibly saving the life of these men. As a matter of fact, I feel like it's going to save lives, because we're going to tell a story that is not unique. It's something that many people in this world have to deal with, that they don't really talk about it that much. These shelters that we lived in are incredible facilities. They're run by incredible people. And if not for them, I don't think that we would be here now. We probably would have ended up back with my dad, and who knows what would have happened. But these shelters need the spotlight. They need finances, they need investments, so that we can take care of these people that need the help. But ultimately, we want to stop people from having to show up there in the first place, and that's what this film is for.